Well, I thank you very much for getting together with us again at this opportunity. This is the time where we roll together just about everything we've been talking about in the past. We are now past the point where we talked about some foundational elements like what is the meaning of your life, and how to promote your personal brand, and how to be a project manager. We've come through the 5 chapters or stages of the powerful engine that drives all this activity, which is the systems thinking, pattern recognition, situational learning, knowledge management, and adaptive leadership. And that all comes together into our first interlude. And basically it's putting us at the first stage of the powerhouse road, which will take us down to the powerhouse itself. Because once everything is all blended, it's all blended in a way to go to the second half of our program to help our... What's this smooth in here?
I just need you to read.
Just read it?
Just read. And interlude is included
at this
point.
All right. An interlude is included at this point to convey the consolidation of proactive concepts and reasoning skills already established as a precursor to their application to the 4 major social system domains, which are personal, organizational, community, and societal. The primary documents that are included are the Learnership Integrated System Architecture, which is called LISA, the Learnership Architecture and... Okay, so I've just said that.
You just said that.
Now I'm going to go right in from there, right into the...
Yep.
Okay, now I'm going to talk to you about the lead-in slides that you've seen before, and we've used many times to remind you that your interest here is to follow the growth opportunities over a lifetime as they emerge, and your chances of being on sort of a traditional plane or of having a takeoff plane where you accomplish a lot more. Your question always is, am I learning things now that will help me get on this track so I can get more back from life? So you're doing that at the same time as we're going through these chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have now built a capability that's sitting right here, right now. This is the situation where we have built what you might call in the business complexipacity. Complexipacity is the idea that you've built a capability that you're ready to use to defeat complexity and lack of information and the things that tend to hold people back as they try to make their lives and careers work successfully. So we're going to be going on to the areas where we're going to be making improvements. And so we have this as a guide as we continue to move forward. In particular, the goal we have been working towards is this very large diagram, the Learnership Integrated Systems Architecture, which we call LISA or L-I-S-A. And there's something in here from every single chapter that we had before. You can see in here, if we remember, situational learning is right at the belly button, right in the center of this chart. And that situational learning has to do with our ability to assess, decide, execute, assess, decide, execute, as far as working with artifacts outside of ourselves. But inside ourselves, we have to learn to sense, adapt, renew, sense, adapt, and renew. And that all is going on while the time frames are changing. We're going from past to present to future in our thinking. Change is constantly going on, so change management's always in play, and complexity is always growing. So the whole idea of learning, situational learning, is going around and around and around. At the same time, we already have different perspectives, and that's what these corner items were showing us, that these are personalities as far as brain dominance, as far as Myers-Briggs types that are in play all the time, and they look at this situation and individuals make their own choices. And those choices have to play off what they're doing with situational learning. But all the time, We're trying to get personal development working for self-fulfillment. And in order to do that, we have to work on our character, our ability, and our health. But along with that, when we're in a work environment, the direction, operations, and performance for the organization should be focused on high performance. High performance sometimes is not totally aligned with what we think our self-fulfillment would be. And in addition, while we have those two going on, we have our responsibility to our community, which is the common good. We have our educational institutions, our governmental institutions, and our businesses trying to reconcile how that part of our life is going to work to achieve the common good. And lastly, at the highest level, we have human enlightenment, which is the place where these large knowledge bands, where the geographical information, economic, political, social, ecological, and technological are always in play universally, not only in our own nation, but across the world, and those are impinging upon or supporting one another at the same time as communities try to work, individuals try to succeed, businesses try to grow, and what we have is this dynamic, swirling activity that sometimes can look to be very chaotic. And that's happening while we're still looking for truth and honesty, freedom, democracy, beauty and goodness, love and happiness, responsibility and trust, and justice and equality, because we keep telling ourselves that these are our overall values and drivers for the goodness of human development. And in that arrangement, we still have adaptive leaders, both in the public and private and the nonprofit sector, that have to figure out the strategy, structure, change, people, process, technology, and how to communicate in different ways in order to get everybody, every entity, every organization, every person, every entity in the whole system working together. This is heady, heady work. The proposal in this program is that those of us who have and learn the capability to sense in all these areas have these tools ready to go at the right time, and because we have seared this picture in our mind, we automatically go to it to see where the problem is, where the opportunity is, and what's likely to be the problem that we have to start with, while considering all the other issues. How do we get work done for our people, for our society, and even for the world? And that's what this is, a powerful diagram of how to think, work, and deliver results. And in that process, we still have individuals and even organizations that seem to have a view that their right brain activities, and they're driven by intuition and feelings, sometimes are not given enough recognition, and they want to push back on the people who are much more thinking and feeling kinds of people. Or the people at the bottom here push up to the top, to the cognitive area, and basically through their emotional feelings and so forth, they try to drive change. And we can know that every day. All you have to do is watch some of these programs on television where you have the people in charge trying to do something that's very cognitively smart and sequential, while you have a group of people throwing things and yelling and screaming that they're not being treated fairly, because the folks up on the top have figured out how to get work done. The folks down at the bottom don't care whether that work's done. They don't want it done at all. So there are a lot of reasons why, even though we know this and we have to play off all of this, we know we got people involved. It's amazing that we're able to get anything done at all when it requires people to maintain their calmness, maintain their authenticity and their honesty in getting work done. But in the end, knowing that allows us to go back in our earlier learning and helps us understand contextual understanding, university of the mind, integral learning, thinking and feeling, the quest for identity, the needs of people, the needs for organizations, the needs for systems. These are all throughout all educational fora. They're throughout our universities, and they're in our learning organizations. And so we have to be able to say that if I have that knowledge and experience, will I become more objective or more subjective, or will I balance those? If I'm learning how to do the things I first talked about, we should then be able to come over here and talk about what is the impact on specific areas of our behavior in the world of business and the world of school and the world of education. So what we do at this stage, we will have an exercise where we work together to try to do linkages here with the chart before to see how this all blends together. And like ends up in that we have already developed 25 principles of behavior or thinking that say, here is a way of thinking that is new, and we need to give some thought to it. For example, if a person describes themselves as having a capacity to learn, they are people who get psychological rewards from the process of learning and to do it in a way that it affects their lives. Vast majority of people don't think of themselves as daily learners who are out searching for knowledge. But people who have worked to develop these thinking skills can easily say, I'm in the business of getting knowledge. If I can get knowledge, I can be more efficient and effective. And they're not afraid to say it. They pin it down to knowledge. Here's some of them. Some people say they have enthusiasm to fully absorb their experiences and to learn from them. Some people would say, I don't want those experiences if they're not good. I only want the good ones. The reality is you have to learn from the good and the bad. So we have 25 principles that we give some time to discussing because they represent a pattern of behavior. And that pattern of behavior is proactive, unafraid to engage and learn, because the benefit of doing that is far superior to being ignorant and not being able to decide what you're supposed to do. How are you going to manage your own life? And so this particular chapter is very great at laying a foundation for going forward. But in the end, each individual, once again, has to say, where do I fit? And if the word fellowship is not what I see myself doing, then what is it? Am I antagonist? What am I aspiring to do? In other words, if I say that I want to be a leader, is that fine? Or maybe I'm talking about now, I just want to be a better citizen. Or if I'm now thinking about the United States vis-a-vis everybody else, I might be in my statesmanship role. So we always have an opportunity as our circumstances change to decide what role and what goal would get us to our happiness point as soon as possible. And we never want to forget, though, if you can't take care of your financial security, if you can't handle your income and savings and your management and your budgeting and your investments and have a wealth desire sufficient to support your family and needs, if you're weak here, it drives down an interest in achieving success here. And these are the 5 areas that we really have to be able to get ourselves together to optimize who we become, and it represents our personhood. And a lot of people today, particularly as we get older, we're wondering about our personhood. Were we integrated, fully grown, fully knowledgeable, developed people for these last 30, 40, 50 years? Or are we still just children trying to figure out where we're going to go with our lives? So I'll leave that to you as we think again once more. What does this mean for your personal life and career? What the stage is you're at now, are you where you should be at this stage of your life? Thank you.